Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the second session of day one of week 2 of ALYFE Connects, our very first virtual experience and event brought to you exclusively by ALYFE Group. Today, we are very privileged to welcome officially Malaysia's most fashionable male, Amir. Andre is an award-winning style personality, brand consultant, brand ambassador, thought leader, digital content creator, key opinion leader, and just all around a really, really great guy. Andre is going to be sharing with us some tips for personal branding and content creation and working with brands in the luxury lifestyle space. And we can't wait to hear about his insights and expertise into building yourself into, like I said, officially the most stylish and fashionable man in the country. Please help me welcome Andre. Good afternoon.
Hi, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm used to the situation by now. I'm used to being at home. So to be honest, the announcement of the extension didn't hit me as hard as I thought it would. I'm getting kind of used to being indoors. How are you doing?
As you mentioned just now, you were talking about how I am best dressed and whatnot. Look at me at home in my t-shirt and relax. Yeah, I just want to be relaxed and enjoying myself right now.
It must be quite refreshing, I suppose, not to have to worry about color coordinating your tie and your socks every single day.
Of course, it's true. It's very true. So I'm very relaxed. I'm enjoying myself. I've been working out. I've been playing video games all the time. I'm resting from content creation at the moment.
Okay. So, I mean, I know you mentioned just now you're managing to work out, because I know before lockdown it was a big sort of personal project you were working on. I know that you had signed up to like a new gym and you were giving yourself a new goal and really getting into the routine of it all. So you've managed to keep it up at home, yeah?
Yes, I have, because of course the gyms are closed, so I just have to work out. Otherwise, it will just be a waste of time working out at the gym, and then 40 days later, you lose all your muscle mass and whatnot. So I just want to be fit and maintain myself and get ready for when it's open. The MCO has been lifted, and we'll just get into it straight away.
So you're more about maintaining. Excellent, good. And you mentioned that content creation has been on hold for you now. I mean, I know that without events taking place and without campaigns and shooting has all been put on hold. So are you using this time? Well, what are you using this time for, basically? Are you using it to maybe plan rather than produce?
The first 3 weeks, I was like really going all out into it. But then again, getting into the 4th, 5th week, you just want to self-reflect and enjoy yourself, rest, because otherwise you won't get any rest at all. You won't get any rest when it all started again. You won't get any rest. So just rest. I know a lot of content creators, they produce contents like every day, like 4 or 5 postings a day, and they do IG live and things like that. But for me, I find I need to only produce something that is meaningful, right? So to do something meaningful, I need to be selective in what I do. So for me right now, I just want to rest. Right now, I'm doing this FB Live. It's not like a workshop, but more like a chat of what I've done, because these are all the questions I keep on getting from people. How do you work with brands? How do you create this content? What kind of camera do you use? These are the questions that I always receive from people. So I think that is a good time for me to share it with people, because otherwise all my workshop will be like, how do you make business out of content creation and this like that, this and that. So right now, I just want to like share with you my experience, and perhaps hopefully will help content creators, and not just the content creators, anybody who wants to pursue a career in content creation. This is where you need to start.
Fantastic. Well, we're very grateful for you giving up the time to join us, Andre. So thank you. And definitely, I'm very much looking forward to what you have to share, because I think you and I first met on a client project about 3 years ago now. And even from that very first project, I could see I think it was a shoe. It was like a shoe campaign, and it was a very simple store visit, in and out, pose with the shoes, take a picture. But I could see straight away that the way you approached the job, the way that you went about it, the way that you executed the whole thing was, you could tell that you're working at a different level to a lot of content creators out there, even for a quick job. I don't think there was even payment.
It was very brave. It was very brave. It was during Ramadan as well. And I think it was
well remembered.
More than 3 years, probably like 4 years ago, I think. It has been that long.
So even for a quick job like that, I thought you set such a brilliant example for professionalism. And so I think, the audience at home would be very interested to hear about how you approach all of these on a much bigger scale, because you work with some of the biggest brands in luxury and lifestyle and menswear and grooming and fashion, and even the shopping mall as a whole, even KLCC. Any of you who went to KLCC before the lockdown will have seen Andre hanging from the ceiling, as it were, 50 feet high on a banner there. It was glorious.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing your story.
It's all about hard work. I think it's all about hard work. And I think if you would keep your mind straight into what you want to do and what you need to do, I think you can go very far in content creation business.
So then tell us about, let's start at the beginning. It's always a good place to start. Tell us a little bit about how you got into, or how you were first interested in or exposed to this kind of work, because it's a relatively new, like the influencer market has really taken off in the last couple of years or so, but I know that you've been hustling way before then. So tell us a little bit about where this journey started for you.
Okay, basically for those who probably hasn't known yet, because I think when it comes to content creators, I am in a very niche market. So it is all about the fashion industry, the men's fashion industry, relatively. So, but I've always been in the creative business. So I've graduated in communication degree from Auckland. I work in broadcasting, producing shows like entertainment and education shows. And then I went my career into brand consulting for an agency as well. So I worked for 17 years with that agency. So I know the brand, how important the branding is for yourself. So for me, 10 years ago, I decided, heck, I need to do something about my life. This is way before content creator. They call any content creator, they call KOL, influencers. Those names were not valid at that point of time. It was just Insta famous, tweet famous, YouTubers. So when I started,
Insta famous.
Insta famous. That was back then. So it's either you're a celebrity or you're Insta famous, right? So, but there is a difference between being an Insta famous, IG famous, tweet famous, and whatnot, and being a content creator. I think there are a group of people, good content creators out there, that are actually pushing information, that are pushing entertainment to the market, to the audience. So if you want to be somebody who can elevate yourself, who can elevate your content creation business, I think it's very important that you know the basics. The basics of personal branding, the basics of how you tips on content creation, the tips on how to work with brands, and good work ethics. You need to have a very good work ethics. And all these content creators, my friends that I know of, they have very good work ethics. They are not lazy. They keep on pushing and pushing and pushing. So is that enough? Is by just having a good work ethics and pushing for content creation all the time, is that enough? So
I'm sure it helps. Yeah, I'm sure it helps. But of course, in this industry, it's very fast paced. You have to innovate constantly. You have to be thinking of fresh ideas all the time. But you just made a very interesting distinction just then, which would be worth highlighting again. So, content creators, you would say, are different from Insta famous people, because content creators are really providing information and value on behalf of maybe a brand or multiple brands or an industry or somewhat. Whereas Insta famous, you might just say they just have like lots of nice beach pictures with a good filter, right?
Yep. True, but they have hundreds, thousands of followers, but then again, they work with every type of brands that they have out there. But is that enough for you? Do you want to elevate yourself and make yourself different from others, or you just want to be an Insta famous and do everything and gain more followers and gain more popularity. That is what you need to know to seek out from yourself, whether what do you want to be.
Interesting. And so when was it, at what point, so you mentioned you spent a lot of time in the agency line of work, which gave you a really good insight into the importance of branding as a whole. But
Right.
when it comes to your personal branding, you know, it is very clear, you know, you have created this, this very well-defined, very well-dressed image, literally, of yourself, you know, within the luxury menswear niche. At what point did you decide that was something that you really wanted to pursue and really wanted to explore and really wanted to thrive in?
Right. So basically what happened for me personally, I've been representing the company, the agency, to present myself to CEOs, board members, and big corporations. But my problem is that I look very young. When I was 30, I probably looked like I was 20, right? So it is very important for me to create a brand for myself, elevate myself. I started dressing up. I started wearing suits. I polish up myself because I want people to trust me. For those the clients that know me for a very long time, they know me already. They know my work ethic. They know how good I am. But for the new people who I just met for 5 minutes, they won't know me unless I create this image that they can trust me.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing about branding. It's all about trust.
It's all about trust, and it's all about perception. And a very nice suit creates that trust and perception straight away. So, and for interesting point, I guess, to mention, because like you said, this wasn't what you're doing now wasn't really around at the time you started getting into it, right? So these days, people look to you. You are the fashion icon. You are the inspiration. You're the lookbook. You're the style guide. You're the style guru. But when you started dressing up and wearing suits and everything, who were you looking to? Where were you looking for inspiration? How were you getting your ideas for, you know, for style and for suits and for grooming and all of this thing? Where would you look for inspiration back then?
So that was my starting point, where I look at other influencers, famous influencers, men's fashion influencers like Nick Wooster. There are several other personalities out there. But then again, it's all about learning yourself. I do self-learning. I learn myself. I keep on improving. Of course, 10 years ago and now, I think I am more polished compared to then. I was really interested. That is why I joined this Malaysia's Best Dressed Man competition. But I never passed through even the top 10. But then again, people have noticed that I am one of those few people who actually dressed up. So when I keep on doing what I do, I gain more attention from the media, from this competition. So I've been getting a lot of awards from then until now. So I probably I don't really say that I gain any inspiration from other people, but I want to inspire people.
Right.
That's more important for me. So I feel that I need to learn, I need to read, I need to go for Fashion Week and check out what this is all about. And only then people can trust you. So that is what I did for my personal brand, to actually elevate myself as somebody who knows fashion, although I learn it myself. I don't graduate in fashion. I don't study fashion, but I just study it on my own and build myself that image that you can actually push fashion into the audience.
I understand. Okay, so in a way, you could say that your inspiration was inspiration. Like you were motivated and determined to pursue this because you knew of the value that image could bring you and others ultimately.
Yeah, and back then there wasn't any much of men's fashion influencer. Even right now, when I go to fashion events for men's influencers or men's content creators, there are not many still until today. There's very few of us. Again and again, we keep on seeing the same people. We'll see Brian C. We'll see Fikri Dahari. We'll see Leslie Peng. We'll see Lucas Lau. These are the same people that I keep on meeting at the event, because these are the only few people who are actually pushing into mass fashion.
Yeah, Yeah, the merry band of very stylish men. Still, not a bad bunch of guys to be not a bad bunch of guys to be photographed with, for sure. Like you said, they all push boundaries. They all keep things. No matter how many events these guys attend, including yourself. Like I don't think I've ever seen you wear the same shirt twice. Let alone the same suit. You managed to keep it interesting. Okay, cool. So this started for you. So the style and the image really started being a part of you when you were working in. This was still an agency life, right? And you were dressing up. Okay, so where did it go from there? What was the next step?
So from there on, I think I started working with smaller brands. So back then, before I worked with brands like Omega, I worked with DW watches. So DW watch is like the most common influencer collaboration that you can see online right now.
Yeah.
But of course, I worked with those brands when I started. But now, because of how you make yourself a niche content creator, you manage to actually elevate yourself. So for me, I've created influencer niche in not just men's fashion, but luxury and premium. I try to be selective in those collaboration working with brands that I choose for. So I choose very carefully. I am very selective at that. So that is how you can actually maintain that, because these big brands, they want to see somebody who doesn't work with smaller brands, I would say, or you want somebody, that image that to represent the brand itself. So you have to create that image with the brand that you want to work with. So if you want to work with, in fashion, for instance, if you want to work with Dior, you want to work with Omega, you want to work with Coach, these are the image that you need to create to match those brands. So otherwise, you'll be working with the same brands, the same scale of brands that you've been working again and again and again for the next few years. So you need to expand yourself and elevate yourself if you want to work with bigger brands. Because people keep on asking me, why do I work with bigger brands? I choose to work with them because I want to work with them, because I love these brands. You love these brands,
of course.
To do something about yourself.
So are you saying it's quite important, even when you're just starting out, you should still try and be as selective as you can, because that image will be what you grow over time? So
okay, I'm not saying that you cannot work with smaller brands. If you want to work with, let's say I work with luxury brands, right? But I want to work with an FMCG brands, fast-moving goods. Like, for instance, recently I worked with Nivea. But the reason I picked up that campaign is because of they represent these fashion personalities as the front runner for the brand, for that products. I'm not just an Insta famous who promote the product, but these are the fashion personalities in the industry that promotes the product. So because they selected me as a fashion personality, I accepted the job. Because they want to promote how fashionable this new product from Nivea is.
So it's about it's about the context and the image that you have built for yourself, and what the client now decides they want. So they want you specifically because they want to promote the fashion angle, not just because you have not just because you have like a few thousand followers. I mean, you have more than a few thousand followers, of course. But you see, it's not what the numbers. Okay. Understood. I mean, now that the influencer marketing game is a very busy market, shall we say, which I guess is a good and bad. So I guess your advice to someone just starting out would be to really understand your area of focus,
expertise. If you want to be somebody that you want to be, let's say you like traveling, you want to travel the world and whatnot, you have to be very good with your pictures, your videos, how you capture that image of the scenery of those countries that you visit. So if you are able to do that, I have a content creator friend, Pojigraphy. His followers is probably only about, I don't know, 20K followers. He's not big, but he has a very niche angle in terms of content creation. So he keeps on pushing of good contents in terms of pictures, in terms of videos, in terms of, so people want to see him being a good influencer, a good guide to tourism. So if you are able to do that, you don't need a big followers. You don't want to be having a big number of followers, unless you want to gain that popularity. For me, I think it's most important is to be a niche in your segment, so that you are able to push yourself and gain better audience, better brands to work with.
Okay, well, yeah, I completely agree. My job is obviously on the other side of the table from you. I mean, like I said, we've worked together on campaigns before, so it's my job to, I guess, find you things to do in some respects. And so what we're seeing from our side, from the desk side of this, is that, brands are slowly becoming a bit more suspicious of, just people with massive followings but low engagement. Because I mean, it doesn't matter how big your audience is if no one is paying attention to you. If people just like you because you're a celebrity, then your value might not be as high as if, say, your travel friend. He might have a relatively low following, but I bet his engagement is really good and his fans are loyal, and he is known as literally a KOL, like key opinion leader. KOL, the phrase, like you just pointed out, that phrase is just one more that we use these days, but to mean influencer. But really the definition, key opinion leader, be like an expert, be a niche ambassador for your area. And I think, so increasingly brands are now looking to use more, I mean, even now we're using nano influencers, which is anyone below 5K.
Exactly.
Previous brands wouldn't even think about it, but now micro and nano influencers are getting more jobs than the big guns, because the brands know that the interaction is a lot more valuable with.
But that's the thing about the brand. For brands who are watching this, they have to understand that you have to have a mixed medium. You have to have a mixed personalities to promote your product, to promote your brand. So if you want to gain more brand awareness, then you go to celebrities, you go to big number of influencers, because you want to gain the mass audience to hear your brand, to hear the name of your brand and the products. But at the same time, you have to mix it with niche influencers, niche content creators, because they are actually the one that is pushing the ROI. Because to me, frankly speaking, it's always about ROI for the brands. They want to hear that. They want to hear that your followers actually go to the store and buy your product. And I have been receiving information. I've been receiving communication from the agencies, from the brands itself, saying that, hey, you promote this bag, and then somebody actually came over and asked, I want that bag that Andre Amir is promoting. I want the one that he's putting on his Instagram. So you want to be able to reach that level. You want to be able, because then you are able to create a good network where the brands will actually talk to another brand, because they are all friends. The one working in marketing, they are all friends among each other. They know each other. So the agency, they know each other. So you want to be able to be recommended, to be promoted by other people, because most of my work, I have to say, it's not that I applied for it, but they look for you. So you want people to look for you.
Once you have, so that's it. So take your time to develop, your niche and your expertise and your specialism. Don't just accept, or don't just chase any job which you think might come your way, but build it. I think the expression is build it and they will come, right? So like, you
exactly.
Create yourself and everything first. Interesting. And I guess, like you said, if you are literally encouraging people, if your promotional efforts are encouraging people to go to the store and inquire specifically about the things that you're promoting, that is, I guess, the very definition of an influencer, right? Forget these Insta famous people with like, with a few thousand followers because they've got like, nice beach pictures. like you have influenced someone's purchase decision, like you couldn't get more influential in a way than that, so I guess that is what we shouldn't lose sight of either.
You shouldn't lose sight of that, but the brands should also understand that the Instagram algorithm has changed. People are not just engaging via likes, via comments anymore. They have to understand that it's more about, sometimes they prefer, for me, myself, my engagement actually are through my DMs and not on my comments on my posts. They
Really?
will rather go straight direct to me and ask me questions about this bag or this product or this stuff. So you'll be surprised that these are the things that you don't see on just a posting.
Behind the scenes.
So the brands should understand that at the end of it, they would see the insights where how much is your reach, how much is your impression of the post, rather than just looking at the likes and engagement comments.
Yeah, true. Working with a few clients recently, the clients are getting smarter. It used to be that you could just say, oh, we're going to engage this influencer. He has 100K followers, and brands would be like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And they don't really pay attention to the finer details in the metrics. But now brands are getting wiser, and rightly so. I think this is a good thing. But brands are getting wise to the metrics and the insights, so that they'll ask for reach, engagement, impressions, clicks, cost per clicks, and reach, and everything like that. So they really want to understand like how effective a campaign has been, which is good, because I think that it is now helping to stabilize the industry a little bit. Because when the market really boomed, brands were just throwing money at content creators and influencers and ambassadors without really understanding what it was doing.
Yeah,
I bet it was a good time.
Without understanding what they did. Yeah.
So I've been telling that. I'm sure you weren't complaining, but nevertheless, I'm sure you weren't complaining about the jobs. But nevertheless, it must be nice to work on a more professional level sometimes.
It is good to be able to work with this brand. So if you have a very good work ethics, you know your stuff, you don't just know about how to post and create nice photos, but you also need to be able to understand the product, to understand the brand itself, because you are representing the brand. So if you are representing the brand, you have to keep up with information of the bag, the watches, the whatever brands that you're working with, to understand that brand and to promote it. For me, I've always been selective, not just brands. I've been selective of the products that I'm promoting, because reason being is that I have to be selective. I have to like the product. So when I started, for instance, I like Kiehl's, right? I use Kiehl's product. I've been spending a lot of money on Kiehl's. So what I did was, when I don't have followers, probably my followings were about 10K, I've already approached the PR saying that, hey, if anything in the future that I am able to work with, call me up, build that rapport with those people, build the rapport with the PR, the agency that you're working with, because you won't know how your future will be. So in the future, they will definitely call you if they think that you suit the brand. So I have been doing that on my early days, although now probably perhaps it's much more simpler for me. I don't need to go and introduce myself anymore, but it is important that you build a good rapport with the media and the brands, not just those two people, and also the other content creators. You have to be respectful. You have to be friendly with these people. Sometimes they just want to be, a lot of content creators, they are fighting with each other. But if you are able to find a good niche of yourself, how you want to be different from the other influencers, then you are able to work together to actually elevate both of all of you guys at the same time.
Right. It's ultimately better. It's win-win for all if you're collaborative more than competitive, right? I mean, KL is a small city, and the KL fashion and lifestyle marketing industry is even smaller. So it's better if we all work together, I think. But you just raised a very interesting point there, Andre, which I think is very important for maybe anybody listening or watching who is interested in starting this journey from the very beginning, or is at the beginning of that journey, or whatever. But what I'm getting at is some people these days maybe have a bit of a warped idea about what being an influencer or a content creator is really like. They just think it's all about just taking nice pictures and putting on filters, and that's all, right? But you just touched upon how you were proactively contacting PR, brand managers, other agencies, and putting yourself out there, and just even when you had a relatively low following, you were still just saying, hey, here's my profile, I would love to work with you, let's see what comes up. So
yeah,
that must
people are afraid of contacting other people due to all this news of influencers contacting, demanding for free products, demanding for free stay, demanding for a lot of things. But I think you should stop demanding. You should just approach because you want to build that network, rather than, if let's say I want to stay at this hotel, I won't say that, hey, give me a free night at this hotel. I will never do that. But what I would do is that what I can promote to them, what I can give to them, I would tell them that. I would tell what I can do. If they don't want it, give me a good rate, I will still promote them. I'll still go for it. I'll pay for it, but it's okay. You just pay for it. But then again, never demand free products. This is a big no-no for influencers. I don't think so. You should be doing that. But then again, I think you keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. You have your insights, your Instagram insights, your Facebook insights. Share with them. I have 80% of followings of male followers. My followers are aged 24 to 34. So these are the right amount, the right audience for you. So these are the things that you need to tell those brands.
But know your audience and know their value and know their relevance to your potential clients. And again, so I'm glad you brought that up, because you're right. There's a lot of horror stories been recently about influencers being very demanding, very diva, like just reaching out to brands and just sending like mass emails, just saying, hey, I've got X thousand followers, give me a free stay, and I'll give you a shout out. But the process that you've just outlined is really nice, because like, I'm sure if you do it professionally and you reach out with your media kit and your insights and your data basically, and your audience, and you say, hey, this is what I can promote to, and then they might give you a special rate and you go and pay for it. But I bet after that first day and you promote it, maybe you do a post, 2 posts, or like an Instagram story behind, like a little tour of the room or something. I bet that brand will invite you back in the future and let you stay for free as much as you want, when they see what the actual engagement and what the results were like. But you have taken the responsibility and the responsibility to just to pay for it yourself in the first place, in view of the long-term benefits, rather than just demanding straight away.
Exactly. So basically, if you are able to prove yourself, keep on doing what you do best, I think the brand will keep on calling you. The brand will keep on coming back to you. And I have been doing that. And I think I'm proud of myself that I am able to do that with brands. And the brands love the posting, not just your posting, but you are able to give back to the brand. It has to be a win-win situation. You have to give back to the brand. You don't expect it to be just one-sided gain from any campaigns that you do.
No, understood. Good, and it's good to see, Andre. Like this, like I touched on at the very beginning of this conversation, you have a list of achievements as impressive as the day is long, and awards and accolades, and you're a busy guy, but you still haven't lost sight of that professional touch and the benefits that it can bring, rather than just being a diva. Some other people in your shoes might be a bit more difficult to work with, but you've never lost sight of that very professional outlook, which is good, which is refreshing, pleasant. So in terms of, on a personal level here for you, like what has been like a major, I'm sure there are several, but what has been like a major highlight for you of your content creation career?
I think getting to work with the brands that you love, those are my biggest highlight, because of you always wanted to work with the brands that you want, and if you're able to do that, it's really great. Of course, getting the campaigns that you want that actually put you out there. People are still questioning. A lot of people who actually don't know me was asking, who is that guy at Surat KLCC Mall? Nobody knows unless you are in the industry, unless you love fashion and you know who I am. I don't blame them, because it is most important for you to be able to gain all this awareness and from the media, from the brands itself. So I think the biggest one would be Surat KLCC, able to work with Surat KLCC to promote their men's fashion level that they have over there, to promote their new hashtags, to promote their social media as well. And then at the same time, what I love is that recently I appeared on this Japanese TV program on Kansai TV for a morning TV show where they look for fashion personalities around the world, all these big cities. They go to Milan, they go to New York, they go to Kuala Lumpur, and to get these fashion personalities to promote the country, the city. So it was just last month. It appeared on that. So I'm very proud of that, because I think I am able to promote the Kuala Lumpur to Japanese people, hoping that probably after all this MCO is lifted, they will come by and see how beautiful our city is. And
for sure,
I think those are the two main ones, major ones that I can think of. I love that I've been to fashion weeks. Those are the things that you have been expecting to see one day, that you are able to go. And I did it all by myself at first, not because of brands sent me there, but because I wanted to be able to experience it firsthand, so that I can bring it home and share it with the industry itself. So right now, if you look at, sorry?
No, sorry. Please finish. I'll ask in a second.
Okay, go ahead. Ask your question.
I was going to say, which of the obviously it's always a pleasure to see you at KL Fashion Week, but you've been to some overseas, right? Have you ever been to like Paris or London or Milan? Which is your favorite fashion week you've been to internationally?
I've only managed to go to London Fashion Week, Milan Fashion Week, as well as Paris Fashion Week. They are all different. They are all very different from each other. Of course, right now, there will be no Fashion Week for the next 1 year. But of course, locally, I've been going to KL Fashion Week to promote men's fashion at KL Fashion Week, because there is none. There is no men's fashion focus on KL Fashion Week. So I've put myself out there to actually inform people by sharing photos of those new fashion at KL Fashion Week, because it is very important for the content creators to know that they are not very different from a journalist. Journalist has 4 factors. They have to inform, educate, guide, and entertain. So you have to do either one of this. You have to inform. For me, I'm not entertaining. I'm not funny. So I know that. So if you know yourself, what else can you do? You can inform, and you can educate, and you can guide. Inform by putting out information of this new product, for instance. I don't use it. I've never been using it, but how do I promote to people? So I just inform, saying that, hey, these are the new products. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying I'm using it. So I'm not lying to people. But if I use a product, then I'll be educating my audience, saying that this product is good because of what. Or I'll be guiding them while doing a skincare routine or whatever else routine that I can do. So you have to understand content creators has the same function as a journalist.
Right. Okay. And that's actually a very, very interesting parallel to draw there. And again, which is what distinguishes an Insta famous type from a real content creator, because of the value they're creating. So inform, guide, entertain, and educate. No, that's the same as inform.
Okay. So it's informing, educating, guiding, entertaining.
Okay, well, look, guys, I'm going to plug Andre's Instagram down below, so do give him a follow if you're not already, at Andre Amir. And I don't know, as far as entertaining goes, I find your captions quite funny. From time to time, you come up with a few decent puns.
So,
you made me laugh.
People, actually, there have been questions about how do you create this caption. I received a question recently. How do you create a good caption to engage with the audience? For me, is you have to you have to be real. You have to be true. You cannot, because the audience now are very clever. They know if you are promoting a product. So how do you want to differentiate yourself is by putting up yourself out there. If you want to be funny, if you want to be witty, just do one-liner at the beginning. Just attract people. Just be yourself. What would you say about this product, rather than just be serious all over? Just be serious in being hard sell about the product. Do not be hard sell about the product, because people do not want hard sell posting. People do not look at hard sell posting. They'll just scroll up.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to engage with your audience by telling true story of yourself, or saying what you really think about it. So start with that, and then you can talk about the product at the bottom. If people are interested to read more, they will read. So you have to capture the audience first. You have to capture their attention first. Then you are able to push about the product that you are promoting.
Yeah, and I think, again, another good point there, people's attention span is very, very short these days. And you're right, all they have to do is scroll up. That's all it takes. 0.1 second is gone. And so you have to be and people, and also you're right in that the audience can really see through, a sales approach if you're not usually a salesy kind of person, And even,
Exactly.
even worse, what I've seen on several occasions is some influencers, some KOLs, it's very clear that their caption is copied and pasted from the agency, because it still says
copy this,
it still
copy
says
and paste this.
this. And
it happens. It happens.
It happens, yeah. So, and I understand, of course, there has to be a bit of give and take between, because a brand is it's marketing, it's advertising. There's got to be brand guidelines and brand messaging, and so on and so forth. So obviously, again, as the middleman here, because that's a lot of what we do at ALYFE Group is influencer marketing and stuff. So there has to be a bit of meet in the middle. Let's get the brand message out there. Let's make sure the hashtags are all correct and things like that. But also, if we don't let the content creator put their own spin on things, put it into be themselves, exactly, then it's almost worthless, because their audience will see straight through it, and then the credibility goes down, and the value it feels a bit cheaper,
Yeah, you drain out the value very much, because of if you don't really push it well, you have to be very truthful to yourself. Tell a story if you need to. A long story is fine. Say 20 years ago, you have not used this product. You wish this product has been produced because you really want it to improve your life. Say like you mean it. Do not just say things that are very straightforward. Otherwise, people just see it through. I have a very short attention span as well. I'll just scroll through. If I were to able to just scroll through, other people would do the same.
Yeah, of course. So I think you've kind of touched on an answer here to a very good question we have here from Lim Lim. Then it's, what do you do when brands insist on highlighting their lengthy product info? Like, we all know there are brands out there. Hi guys, who I'm joking, I don't know any, who insist on on certain like lengthy descriptions and points that they insist have to be in there. How do you work around that while keeping it in your own style, in your own words?
Okay, basically, if the client do insist that, I actually will go back to the client and the brands, the agency, and tell them upfront, saying that this will not work, because you want to be able to caption it in a way that people actually read, or people actually understand what the product is. So what I would normally do is, first, I will go back to the agency or to the brand and tell them upfront, saying that I don't think this will work, but what if I do this? What if you do a video, then it's easier. You don't have to talk about the product in the caption, right? So you talk about the product so people would actually listen, and people will engage and listen to you. Or if I were to be able to not able to resist their direction, then what I would do is that I would still do a very good first caption to attract people to read. You have to, your first line has to be really, really well, really well curated. And I actually go to writing class and to go to storytelling class because of I want to know how to actually do a good storytelling. Although I know it already, but I still go for it because you'll be able to get certain insights on how you want to create that caption. And then you are able to talk about the product at the bottom of your caption. Because of if people are interested, people will read. Otherwise, people won't. But another suggestion that I would do is that do it in a story, IG story, rather than putting it in words. Talk about it, talk about the products, and then just do a normal posting.
Interesting, actually, that's a very creative compromise. Good way of doing it, and people engage, and actually, I mean, on the stories as a whole, people are engaging now with stories, I think, more than posts. You know, people are swiping to the side rather than swiping down a lot of the time. So, and people always they prefer to listen to things rather than read them. So if brands are insisting on like a lengthy description, maybe you can get creative with stories and with verbalizing rather than just copy pasting all of the stuff.
And also recreate that information. If you want to recreate that information, you can. Again, put yourself, how do you want to tell that story to the people? Rather than saying, let's say this product is good because of it has AHA and collagen and blah, 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 blah. You tell a story. If it's all about, say, collagen, I am 40 years old and I want to promote collagen because I want to use collagen because it is good for me because I want to keep young. So you have to recreate that caption and redo that caption for yourself. That represent yourself to the audience.
So, but I think you've still touched upon, you know, a very important point there, and that is like the way that you proactively go back to the brands, and you are prepared to think about a solution for yourself, you know, like, so again, so many people, like I said, with the whole copy paste thing, it's a little bit lazy, it's a little bit, you know, it's a little bit cheap, it feels like sometimes, but you are taking the effort and again, the responsibility and the proactivity, you're going back to the brand and suggesting a solution and a compromise and working with them to really fine tune and curate that message, which is great, because again, that's how you set yourself apart from the people who will just take anything they're given, just copy paste posts, you know?
Exactly. So I think at the end of it, I think it's all about having a good work ethics and have a discussion, have a good rapport with your agent, with the brands that you work with, because if you have this good rapport, you are able to always discuss and talk things out, because otherwise we're just accepting. If you keep on accepting like 100 campaigns per month, of course you don't have the time to do that. So that is why I'm being selective. If you don't be selective, you pace yourself, because you don't want to be promoting a product of the same. If you're promoting a shoe and then next week you're promoting another shoe and the next week you're promoting another shoe, but how do you differentiate yourself? So you have to go back. I always say upfront to the brand, saying that I'll be working with this brand and this week. Can I do it next week? And if I were to do it, then this is how I would do it. This is my approach and my angle towards it, rather than just, I just do it for the money. A lot of influencer content creators, they think about the cash and the money, the cash flow only for that. But I think if you're good, you're able to do better by actually selecting good products, good brands, and you're able to actually gain more jobs in the future.
Well, yes, exactly.
Think of the long run, not the short.
Exactly. Think of the long term. So yeah, you might get a quick cash token in the short term, but you know you're gonna earn more in time to come if you just stick to your principles at the very beginning. So that's also a very good lesson. I think people lose sight of the long term goal when the cash carrot is dangled in front of them sometimes.
True. That's very true.
Okay, guys, we've got about 5 minutes left, by the way, of the session. So for everyone watching at home, I think it'd be good to wrap up with a few more questions from the audience if you have any. Because I think Andre is very much the right guy to be asking about this kind of thing.
I have a question. I have a question from my audience. I think they DM me also asking me to talk about what are the equipments, the camera that I use and whatnot. Okay, basically, you just need your phone. A lot of influencers I see, they actually just use your phone to create stories, to create contents. And sometimes if you have nowadays, all the phones has good camera quality. You don't need a camera anymore. But for myself, I bring a camera because I love the depth of those cameras, what they can do. Because so that I am using Sony, I think I'm using Sony A6000, or I've always been using Sony camera on top of my iPhone. So I've been using my iPhone to create stories and whatnot because it has a very good camera. But then again, a better camera would be a mirrorless camera, which is very light. At the same time, you can actually carry it around to events. I've been carrying a lot of content creators actually carry their camera along with them because they have better pictures. A lot of my friends, celebrities, they've been asking me saying that, hey, how do you do it? How do you get better pictures? Can you capture my photos with your camera? Because most celebrities, they bring their own photographers. We don't. We can't afford to bring our own photographers. So we have to bring our own camera along. So if you want a good camera, I would say Sony. A6000 series is really good.
Yeah, I hear a lot of good things about Sony, actually, because they're very the trade-off between compactness and quality is excellent. I've just got myself a new Nikon, actually. I've got myself a mirrorless Nikon, which is really good. So I'm plugging Nikon, but it's expensive and not one.
It is. I mean, it is. Sony is expensive. Nikon is expensive. Olympus is expensive. They are all expensive, but you need to be able to what do you call it? Spend a little bit to gain in the future.
Right, you've got to speculate to accumulate, I think is the phrase. Or like you basically got to invest. Invest, and it'll pay off in the longer term. But like you pointed out just now, I think at the beginning, like your phone is fine. Like anything from the iPhone 6, well, maybe not the 6, but basically phone cameras are definitely suitable in the when you're starting out on this journey, kind of thing. You don't need to put all this money in expensive equipment. Just get used to taking photographs first. Understand your best side and all the rest of it, and then only start leveling up with the equipment.
And if you want to be better at it, for me, I think you have to learn about editing. Have several apps. I think most of content creators have several apps just to edit their photos, from one app to another app to another app before they post their photos. So you just have to learn it. I think having good apps are important, but if you know how to edit, it will be much better. So learn about it. It's very easy, I think, once you are able to create a good editing for your photos or your videos.
Sure. I mean, do you do a lot of your editing these days still yourself? Like, because a lot of the photos on your Instagram are like really beautifully polished. They look great. They look very professionally done. Are you doing a lot of your own editing still on photo and video?
Of course. I still have to do all my editings myself. People ask me, how do I get good photos? It's very easy. Take hundreds of photos per shot. If you want to, just take hundreds of photos and then just get one. You eventually you find one, but don't post the same for every 100 photos. You keep on changing your pose because you don't have a photographer. So you depend on your friends to take a picture. People are complaining that my friends are taking pictures like really bad. But if you are able to angle it for them, take hundreds of photos, select one. You'll be able to find one and then go into your editing. Because for me, what's important, because I'm collaborating with brands, I want their product to be polished. I want their product to be in the original state, in very bright, vibrant looking photos. That is why my pictures are always bright, vibrant looking photos, because the brand would actually like how you put up their products on your posting.
Sure. So you got to make it appeal. Make sure it's appealing. Of course, appealing.
Yeah.
But in such a in such a way that many people will want their products to be a part of that image too. Cool. I guess I have one. I think we've got time for one more, and I'm going to take and I'm going to ask it for you. One more question before we finish, and I'm curious. I'm excited to hear about what your plans are post MCO, Andre. What you're most looking forward to get back to doing when we're allowed out the house.
I miss dressing up.
Any special plans in the pipeline? Any projects?
First of all, I miss dressing up. I miss going to events
and
covering events. But of course, although the MCO will be lifted, I think there will be very selective events, or probably none until end of the year, I think, because of the MCO may be lifted, but then again, the pandemic and the virus will not end probably until next year. I don't know. Let's hope for the best. But of course, I miss dressing up. I am looking forward to promote new products, to actually promote myself out there again, because of, for me, although I do not create contents right now, but I've been getting a lot of engagement, awareness from the media by having a lot of articles and TV shows and whatnot that came out with recently and coming soon. So keep yourself busy by actually keep your rapport and your network very good. So you keep on, even if you don't have anything to do with the brand, send them messages, send them, I don't know, anything saying that, hey, I'm still here, I'm still around. Once this MCO is lifted, I don't know. I hope that there'll be more events. A lot of campaigns has been on hold since January, actually, a lot of it. And I think a lot of this will not happen this year. But I think everybody should keep a good spirit, good positivity, keep on sharing your positivity with the audience, and I think you'll be doing great right after the MCO is lifted.
Awesome, excellent. Well, that's a very positive note and an optimistic one to end on, Andre. So I think we'll have to wrap up the session there. But thank you very much for coming online with us and sharing with us your expertise and your insights. Like, from a guy who has truly done it, like you've practically written the book on personal branding, especially in this industry. So it's been delightful to hear about how you did that. So thank you for sharing some of the trade secrets. And I'm sure it's been
thank you so much, Jacob. Thank you so much, ALYFE Connect. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching.
Thank you for that.
I'll see you very soon.
Take care, Andre. Stay safe, stay indoors, and wash your hands.
You too. Bye-bye, man.
Well, there we have it. Officially, Malaysia's most fashionable man, Andre Amir, an expert on personal branding and styling and content creation. And so I hope that was as valuable for you guys watching at home as it was for us here. It's always interesting to get these expert insights from guys who are doing it at the very, very top level. And so we hope that has been as interesting and insightful as we certainly thought it was. Join us again at 6 p.m. where we welcome Benny Price, personal trainer and CEO of Jumper. He'll be joining us to talk about some, basically myth busting and muscle building. He'll be talking about training myths, nutrition myths, and technique myths. And even he'll be sharing with us his latest guides to training during Ramadan. So that's happening at 6 p.m. where I'll be your host. But for now, this is a wrap on the second session of day 1 of week 2 of ALYFE Connects, our very first virtual only event brought to you exclusively by ALYFE Group. Thank you very much.